Hello everyone, I'm Kevin. Welcome to the Kevin Talks MP. Bipolar or monopolar? Hello everyone, welcome to Kevin Talks MP. The topic we are going to talk about today is whether the magnetic pole on the surface is the South Pole or North Pole. Bipolar or monopolar? The magnetic poles on the surface of platinum are in the shape of strips, squares, circles, etc. As mentioned before, there are no magnetic flux passing through the pole surface when it is demagnetized. No external magnetic force is shown. At this moment, the mold can be freely removed from the surface of the magnetic platen. When magnetized, magnetic flux passed through the magnetic pole surface. The closed-loop magnetic flux cycle is completed through the back plate of mold, result in the mold is clamped onto the magnetic platen. From the perspective of the working principle, magnetic platen can be divided into two types, bipolar and unipolar magnetic platen. The polarity of the square pole magnetic platen is basically bipolar. The platen is arranged like a chessboard. Any two adjacent squares have a south pole and a north pole. After the magnetic flux enter the back plate of the mold from one of the poles, immediately turn around and enter the adjacent pole next door to complete a closed-loop magnetic path, thereby clamp the mold. The role of mold back platen here is to act as a bridge for conducting magnetic flux. It is the magnetic conductor. Therefore, the magnetic field of the permanent magnet embedded in the magnetic pole can be conducted out, thereby generating a maximum magnetic force of nearly 16 kilograms per square centimeter. If the surface of the magnetic pole is not covered by the mold during magnetization, when the magnetic flux reaches the surface of the pole, it is touched with the air, which is a poor conductor of magnetic flux. The magnetic flux need to overcome at least a 10 mm air gap to reach the next magnetic pole. Therefore, it can be considered that the magnetic field is not closed from the surface of the magnetic pole. Instead, it is broken on the surface of the magnetic pole. The bipolar magnetic platen has embedded permanent magnetic materials and coils under South Pole and North Pole to give the magnetic field. The magnetic flux in the entire closed loop is equivalent to being accelerated twice by the South Pole and the North Pole. To complete the entire magnetic flux cycle, it is like a dual pump hydraulic system. Flow pumps are provided on both the outlet and the return line. Generally speaking, each pole of the bipolarity magnetic platen is an active pole, so it can generate an average clamping force of 16 kgf cm2. The ability to overcome air gap is relatively strong. The next we will talk about is the monopolar magnetic platen. That is, each pole on the magnetic platen is a unified North Pole or South Pole, and the blank area around the magnetic pole is induced into an opposite polarity. In case of mold being attached, the magnetic flux pass through the magnetic pole area and enter the mold back plate. Immediately turn around from the surrounding area back to the magnetic platen to complete the magnetic flux cycle. The magnetic field is only motivated once by the permanent magnet and coil below the magnetic pole. This is like a single pump in a hydraulic system. Only one pump is installed at the outlet. The magnetic clamp strength in the entire loop is not uniform. After testing, we found that the average clamping force of the monopolar magnetic platen can only reach 11 kgf cm2. Due to the difference in the clamp force which can be generated per unit area. This means that the number of magnetic poles with the same clamping force should be arranged. The number of bipolar magnetic plates is less than that of monopolar magnetic platen. This also means that the bipolar magnetic platen can achieve greater force on a smaller mold back plate. That is to say, the bipolar magnetic platen has a stronger compliance for the mold. Facts have proved that the clamp force of bipolar magnetic platen is stronger than that of the monopolar magnetic platen in overcoming the air gap. But what are bipolarity disadvantages? That is, the total amount of magnetic material used in the production of bipolar magnetic platen is slightly more than that of monopolar platen. The difference in appearance between the two platens is very simple. If you can see some intentional cavity areas around the magnetic poles on the surface of the magnetic plate, this is a monopolar magnetic platen, which is a mean of avoiding the decrease in magnetic field strength caused by the large contact area as the substrate for magnetic flux and density. The magnetic platen currently produced by T company in the market is bipolarity technology. The magnetic platen used by S company before is monopolar technology. The magnetic platen technology that we have been using in our company is the bipolarity technology. With the development of technology, monopolar magnetic platen technology will gradually be replaced by bipolar technology. Okay, let's summarize for today's topic. 1. The magnetic poles on magnetic platen are in the form of squares, circles, strips, etc. 2. The square poles are bipolar magnetic platen and the circular magnetic poles are monopolar or bipolar. 3. Bipolar magnetic force can reach 16 kilograms per square. Monopolar is about 11 kilograms per square. For the bipolar magnetic pole region is saturated magnetic. The magnetic field around the monopolar magnetic pole is basically unsaturated. 5. Bipolar materials have high requirements, also strong capabilities, which is the trend of future technological development.
Welcome to Contact Us.